the deck that we use in this presentation will be available to you in an unbranded version. So if you like some of the stats and some of the information we go ahead and present to you in this webinar, you will get a copy of it. To that end, those of you that are familiar with WebEx know that there is called a chat function, and within this chat function, you're able to go ahead and ask questions. So if you have questions regarding technical things with RAS, issues with pricing, issues with how to trial, or anything else like that, if you have any other questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and either myself or one of our expert sales engineers who are on the call right now will be able to jump on and get that answered for you. And we'll answer questions at the end of the presentation. So right now, feel free to sit back, and hopefully you will gain some knowledge here that you're looking for with Parallel's remote application server. This is, again, the intro presentation. So where do we start from an aspect of why virtualization, or why are we even talking about Parallel's RAS? Well, in the olden days, and I say the olden days, about 3 months ago, we were kind of brought to the realization that this is how, in the olden days, IT organizations worked, right? You'd have your IT organization and a bunch of end users in like the same physical location, or the same kind of campus. You'd have a centralized on-prem IT servers and applications and those types of things. And then you'd have kind of a ubiquitous, homogeneous, everybody's on a Windows machine, or everybody's on a specific type of machine, and you'd manage that process, right? And you'd manage that. And what we were introducing for Parallel's RAS was a way to go ahead and provide you the capability to get multiple applications working on multiple desktops, multiple devices at any time, anywhere, those types of things. And we really kind of focused on the work remotely or work from home angle that people were really interested in. And one of the ways we used to have this conversation is we used to talk about exactly what were some of the reasons why people weren't interested in working from home. And so we would have people come back and say, well, there is although there's a lot of benefits for working remotely, there's specific issues with productivity, right? Western business in the last 120 so odd years have kind of structured a way in which the business people come into businesses to work, and that's how people were productive. They were productive within an office. The support structures that were built behind that, your IT, your HR, and everything else behind that, were really to support on-premises employees and not remote employees. And then there was a thought about teamwork. Teamwork was, the team interactions that are required for the multitude of business processes that we have requires physical, in-person interaction, right? And so that's kind of, so when we used to talk about remote application server and work from home capabilities, this was kind of the pushback that we got from specific and prospective customers like yourselves. And so what the old normal really looked like is we would talk about, there were going to be a whole bunch more global workforce workers by 2022, right? And the number of mobile devices are going to shoot up, and the vast majority of organizations think adopting mobile capabilities and work from home capabilities will help them. Companies saved money with having people work from home. And then obviously employers actually got more work out of people as they worked from home. So this was kind of the environment that we would have this level of conversation as little time ago as three months ago. But what's primarily happened, obviously, in the interim, is these objections, and I grew up in Detroit, so we actually had a saying, these sounded like Cadillac problems, meaning with what's going on right now, having a debate about worker productivity or how we support people, or the trying to figure out what equates teamwork and what doesn't, that seems like an argument or a conversation that we don't have the luxury of having anymore. Because in the normal we find ourselves now, we understand in the world that we live in, to operate. Even the World Health Organization and the CDC and others are saying the very first thing you can do to help your workforce in the current normal we find ourselves in, well, first off, is to get them to wash their hands, but secondly, is to get them to ability to work from home, if feasible. Before everything else that we do, if we can go ahead and provide the capability for people to work from home as much as they can, that helps us not only within our organizations but also as a people in stemming infection rates and flattening the curve to allow people to go ahead and so we don't overtake and over push our healthcare organizations. So in this new normal, there's really some key facts. We need to figure out how to get people working remotely and working from home, because at present there's 36 million people in the United States that are currently unemployed. And many of these people could be doing part of their job or all of their job if they had the capability or the functionality to work from home. Now, even if, let's say the majority of those people go back to work or their offices open back up, 51% of the child population out there are currently out of school, at least till the remainder of the school year, if not the fall as well. So if you've ever had a 9-year-old try to go ahead and sit on the couch all by themselves and figure out how to work Google Classroom, you know exactly that just because an office opens doesn't mean a parent who has a job can go back to that office. Additionally, when are the offices going to open? We're going through this process right now when businesses open, and it's it's state driven, it's political driven, it's driven by a whole series of factors that we currently don't really have our hands around. So we really don't know when the economy or when businesses are going to open again based upon the current data that we have right now. It's really anyone's guess. And then even if we create plans to go ahead and open our businesses or open our regional territories, the vast majority, or at least a large plurality of people, or the vast majority of people really don't have a good idea or a great deal of trust in the government concerning the information that's coming out to them. So as business owners and as businesses and as organizations and employ people, we need to kind of step up. And it's not just because we're being altruistic or we're trying to make sure that people, I mean, these are important things, that people have jobs and they can pull in the money that they need to pay for their mortgage and their kids' school and shoes and those types of things. But there's really a liability issue. So the National Law Review came out recently and with a large article about liabilities. And they're saying that an employee could easily right now allege negligence, such as a failure to provide clean work environment, in regards to businesses that are requiring their employees to come back. And the National Law article goes through a whole list of safety protocols and things an organization needs to do in order to go ahead and cut that level of liability. Now, these are things like, reviewing safety protocols, closing break rooms, renewing shipping and reviewing shipping and receiving, sanitizing the workplace regularly, providing hand sanitizer, all these other things that you need to do. Now, for those of us that have worked for a long period of time in an open office architecture, these are almost impossible to do. Because if you have everybody working in one little area with just little quarter wall cubicles separating each other, it's almost impossible to create a level of social distancing as necessary. So what you're left with from a liability perspective, and what we believe, is for the people that can stay home and do their jobs, you need to, as an IT professional, you need to go ahead and provide them the level in which they need to be able to do that. And that needs to be an argument that not only that you're listening to, but as an IT leader, that you're in front of, that you're the tip of the spear. Because primarily this, except for the smiles, may be what the new work normal looks like for your coworkers and the people that work in your organization for the foreseeable future. So the need to go ahead and create a solution that allows your end users to do that not only protects you as an organization liability-wise, but also provides you the ability to keep your doors, your virtual doors, open and keep revenue coming in as you need to within your organizations. So scaling up to remote work and collaborations, what you really need to understand is what parts of the business can be moved to remote work. And this includes a number of different business systems. Now, of course, depending upon what vertical you come from, what business you provide your customers, it's a little bit different. But in general, things like HR, payroll, your ERP system, your CRM, unified communications, collaboration tools, email, file stores, all of those can be moved to a function that is 100% remote or 100% work from home. And really what's going to happen is if you're not planning for this, or if you're not doing this already, what's eventually going to happen is your boss or your boss's boss is going to read that article from the National Law Review about liability. They're going to get scared, and they're going to send you an email, or they're going to poke their head in IT, and they're going to say, we're keeping everybody at home, so make it work. And that's the level in which that you're going to have. And all these virtualization projects that you didn't get budget for, or that were turned down the course of the last few years, are all of a sudden going to be front and center, because liability and the need to keep your business up and operational are pushing you as an IT professional to get your people to work from home. And the reality is that you're facing this, where you have an empty office architecture, and you're attempting to go ahead and bring it like this. And not simply just video conference, because video conference is just a small, minuscule part of what real work from home is. And as you know, it's these legacy applications, it's these Windows-based applications that you have that need to be running on multitude of different devices, mobilely or remotely, so people can do their jobs. Now, what is this going to look like for you? Well, for all intents and purposes, it's going to be, you're going to have some type of data store or application sharing, maybe hosted on-prem or on a cloud, and you're going to connect to a multitude of different users. You're going to have full-term employees, you're going to have contractors, you're going to have regional offices, you're going to have a whole bunch of peripheral devices, and you're going to have, who knows, a catcher's catch can of a number of different end user devices, whether they be iPads or browsers or Windows Surface tablets or MacBooks or whatnot. And you're going to have to go ahead and figure out how to get your legacy applications on those particular devices. And then you're going to have to deal with that last mile of whether it be a wired or a Wi-Fi connection that's going to impact how your remote applications work within those specific environments. And then you're also going to deal with the ID10T and the PEBCAC errors that we always deal with within IT. The fact is, the vast majority of your workforce, if they're not already working remotely, really have no idea how to work remotely. And the fact is, it's not just simply not being able to figure out how to run a Zoom call, but how to run their payroll application or their accounts payable system from a MacBook at home, or from their kid's Chromebook. So there's a number of different things that you need to do as an IT professional. So how can we help you here with that? And what's the whole point of this intro, and what's the whole point of this webinar? Well, here at Parallels, we understand that the vast majority of companies still use traditional desktops for most of their end users. We also understand that even though many apps are quote-unquote web-enabled or work cross-platform, your end users like and prefer to use the Windows applications. And these Windows applications are often more robust than a Mac version or an Android version, or maybe even a mobile app version. Remote users also suffer from peripheral issues like printers and scanners. And if you've ever tried to troubleshoot a remote printer, you know exactly what I'm talking about the level in which you have no insight into whatever bubble jet printer they're using in order to go ahead and print. And the fact is that when it comes to input devices like scanners and others, who knows how your legacy applications interface with that. And then, of course, the biggest blocker that we find to remote work or work from home is end user training. Your end users simply aren't that up to speed on how things work. They barely know, and again, I'm not telling any tales out of school, many of your end users barely know anything outside their own job about how they utilize their ERP or CRM application. I know some workers within Parallels, knowledge workers within Parallels, that simply know what F5 does within an application, but they don't know why. They don't know how. They don't know what else to do. They know at a certain point in the day they click F5, and that's what they're supposed to do. So what we've provided here at Parallels is a application, an IT-based administrative application that allows you as an IT professional the ability to push desktops and applications and data from either an on-prem or a cloud-based environment to any desktop, any device, anywhere, at any time. And we do it simply, and we do it as effortlessly as possible with as little end user training and as little end user interaction as you potentially need. And this isn't something we just cooked up in the garage 2 weeks ago. I mean, Parallels has been around for 20 years. We have over 7 million people a day that are running Parallels Desktop, rolling up Parallels Desktop and running Windows on their Mac. And over 50,000 businesses across the world trust us with their virtual desktop and virtual application deployment capabilities. Now, we have a plethora of different products that we work with in this space, but this particular webinar is about what you see there in the lower right-hand quadrant, Parallels Remote Application Server. So let's talk a little bit about Remote Application Server. We believe that Parallels Remote Application Server can meet a number of different objectives that you may have within your organization right now. We believe that with utilizing our remote solution, we can help you increase your employee satisfaction by giving them access to all the apps and all the desktops they need from their work from home device, whatever device that is. It provides you a need for security while increasing your ability to keep your business mobile. It will leverage your current cloud functionality, whether you have a full-on cloud, whether you're on-prem, or whether you have a hybrid of both. We give you that capability. And what we hope to do is provide you the ability to go ahead and meet the market demands for your business. And the current market is keeping your business open and operational. And that's really the only market that anybody is interested in right now. So keeping your business up and operational for as long as possible under the current environment, we provide you a capability to do that. So when we take a look at the biggest impediments to work from home, we see two separate things. We see first, there seems to be with most products out there, the lack of an easy button for end users to use their apps or desktops remotely. And we call this a user experience issue. There's a second issue for you as an IT professional, a lack of an easy button for your IT organization to ramp up users quickly as the need arises. When COVID-19 hit, when the coronavirus hit in February, we were deluged with a number of end users that needed immediate remote or an immediate increase to remote users. Some doubled them. We had one customer went to a factor of 10, where they increased 10 times the number of licenses that they need. And for the vast majority of these end users, they were able to do this in less than a couple of hours. So that's one of the things we'll talk about that. So there's a UX perspective about how there's no easy button for end users, and there's an IT perspective how there's really no easy button for most products for your IT personnel. So what we provide with Parallels RAS, which is Remote Application Server again, is an all-in-one solution that we believe delivers applications and virtual desktops to your devices anytime, anywhere. And what I mean by your devices is the devices that your end users are using to access your applications and desktops. The days of you shipping out a Surface or a MacBook or whatnot, people are going to use what they can use when they can use it, and giving you the ability and giving your end users the ability to use whatever they need to means that someone can process payroll while walking their dog in the neighborhood and on an iPad, as opposed to having to sit at a desk in an office, in a cubicle somewhere. And that's really the biggest thing that we're able to provide. So a superior end user experience with any device anywhere. Our clients, the client functionality, the end user functionality, we're able to transform any virtual application into a fully fledged mobile app. And this allows your iOS and Android users to not only use the apps and desktops as they've used in the past, but also use a lot of native features and native gestures like pinch and zoom or swipe in order to go ahead and move through an application. So the best part of mobile devices and the best part of your legacy application are merged into this, what we call a superior user experience. Now, because of this, it provides a level of enhanced data security because everything is remote and everything is virtualized. You are the final arbiter of all security on your system. So data, information is not bleeding into these desktops or these end user devices. You're able to secure that. It's a pretty agile solution, meaning that it allows you to quickly adapt to different business needs by automatically scaling your infrastructure. The city of Stamford, Connecticut was a small RAS user pre-COVID, and they had 50 users, specifically end users that would work from home on a kind of temporary basis. They would have these 50 RAS user licenses. Within 1 week of when COVID hit in the middle of February, they came to us and they increased their number of users in about a 72-hour period to be 500 users. And again, that was just an example of how easy it is to go ahead and scale up the number of users that are necessary. And then, of course, the ability to this kind of delves into how easy to deploy, configure, and maintain the solution is by streamlining the deployment and maintenance, by providing a set of tools directly from a central console that you as an IT administrator can utilize and work with. And then at the end of the day, what we hope this all does is reduce your total cost of ownership of cost and complexity, the ability for you to streamline your IT workloads and to reduce your overhead costs, especially in the environment we find ourselves in. So let's talk a little bit about what we call this seamless UX. When a Parallels customer, or when one of your end users utilizes Parallels remote application server to access either the desktop or the application you've provided them, they have the capability to utilize the native gestures from whatever device they're accessing it from. So if they're accessing it from an Android tablet or a Chromebook or an iPhone or a MacBook, anything that they're capable of doing in a native gesture for that device, they're capable of doing within your application. It also provides a level of web access, so you don't have to screw around with creating a web app for your legacy shipping and receiving, or your time card system, or whatever this legacy application you're using. We provide a real easy model where you can use the HTML5 client in order to get quick access to that application through a browser interface. We provide a level of multitasking that you currently don't have right now. So you can have multiple applications run on your device. Different files can be open. You can switch between them on demand. You can copy and paste between applications, use native gestures, a multitude of different things. Imagine giving your end users the capability to copy from the AP application and paste it into the shipping and receiving application. This is what you're able to do from an iPad utilizing the multitasking features from Parallels RAS. And then obviously with our peripherals, print from any device. You will give your end users the capability, so Janice from accounting can utilize her Google Chromebook. She can get in the ERP system and she can print out copies of invoices on her home BubbleJet printer without you screwing around once with a printer setting, without you screwing around once with some type of peripheral interface. And anybody who's ever had to troubleshoot a remote printer knows exactly what I'm talking about here, about how that could literally pay for the price of admission with the seamless capability of these peripheral devices, right? So the other impediments, that second big impediment I talked about, was the lack of an easy button for you all to go ahead and ramp up end users. So one of the things we do is when it comes to IT agility and business readiness, we provide you access to virtual desktops, applications, and machines from any major hypervisor to use on any device. This way, you as an IT professional can flexibly manage VM templates to allow instant provisioning of VDs or published applications to their end users. So in that case in point, where the city of Stamford went from 50 users to 500 users in 72 hours. When those 450 users opened up their laptops that day, they were able to go ahead and access their legacy applications effortlessly and quickly, only because we made it effortless and quick to go ahead and roll up that number of users really quickly. And that's through our flexible deployment. We provide not only support for multiple cloud deployment, including Azure and AWS, but you can also be more flexible utilizing RDSH, Windows Server, or any number of different level of hypervisors that you currently use. So it's really 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Whatever your end users like and what you like to support, we can go ahead and provide you the capability to do that. We also provide a level of task automation, so you can save time and effort while maximizing your resources by just automating common, complex, or even repetitive tasks. Gives you the capability to do that. And it's really simple as far as straightforward management. We have something called a single pane of glass. It is literally a single console that you can manage and scale your entire IT infrastructure. We even provide a series of traffic light indicators to give you green, yellow, or red about how each component is working. And since it is a web-based console, this allows you the ability to administer and monitor from your own home. And again, because you are a worker as well, and if you don't have an office full of people, you should be able to work from home and manage the IT organization as well. And we provide you that level and that capability as well. Many of our end users, many of our IT customers are actually managing their IT departments remotely from their own work from home offices. And we give you the capability to do that, so everybody is safe. So let's talk a little bit deep dive into, not so much deep dive, but a little bit more than surface as far as what our superior UX means. Well, at the very beginning, it means work productively from anywhere. So any device, anywhere, anytime. If you can think of a device, we can run a Windows app on it. And that's primarily what we're able to do. So you could have users, one user that's working on an iPad and another user working on a Windows device, and they'll be able to do the same amount of work as they would if they were sitting in their cubicle at the office. With the universal printing and scanning and that level of functionality, again, it's just another headache to be removed from you as far as managing these local printers or local peripheral devices. The ability to give you things, oops, I'm sorry, it's real quick there. The ability to give you things like remote FX support or AI-based session pre-launch. We even white label. So if you like the Parallels client, the HTML5 client for the browser, you can white label that, and you can put your own logo and you can make it look like it's just ABC companies and it's not Parallels. Again, it's up to you. And if you're an MSP or an ISV, if you host a piece of software for your end users, this also gives you the capability to expand the number of people that could be utilizing your solution from home or from a remote location simply by white labeling Parallels RAS. And then obviously we give you things like native gestures again, multitasking, quick pad, extended drag and drop, and even something as cool as bidirectional audio, which you hear me speaking on right now. And I'm actually running through a Parallels RAS session this webinar from my MacBook. And so this is we not only sell dog food here, we eat dog food. So we eat our own dog food when it comes to that. Data security, we provide a level of data security that's second to none, not only by improving security by centralizing your data, but we give you the capability to monitor, control, and restrict the data access. You create client policies that you can enforce on any device, incorporating whatever encryption protocols you want and whatever smart card or secondary authentication process that you enable within your organization. So again, we are just an overlay to your current security protocols, and we provide you that capability to do as you expand your users into the work from home space. And again, we think we're pretty agile when it comes to your business readiness. Just like the Stamford, Connecticut, you can go 10x within just a few hours the number of users you need that are working remotely. It's really a one-stop solution for both RDS and VDI. Because we work on anything, we allow you to mix and match different OSs and technologies So if you have a marketing team that likes to work on Macs, but they need access to a Windows device, but you have a sales team that likes to work on Windows devices, they can all utilize the same CRM, the same applications, the same things that you need them to in order to go ahead and work well together. We are multi-cloud ready, and we are hypervisor agnostic. So again, wherever your data is coming from and however you want it to look is again entirely up to you based upon how we can work. We think we're very easy to deploy, configure, and maintain. With our client auto configuration, you can quickly enroll new users to access already published applications and desktops with a single click. We are a one-stop shop as far as a centralized management console. Remember, a single pane of glass. So whether it's deploying servers, publishing applications, monitoring resources, managing devices, you can do it all from one console and from the safety of your own work from home office space. Multi-tenancy. Many of our customers require multi-tenancy so their organizations can monitor and manage multiple farms from a single pane of glass. So that's part and parcel of the product. That comes straight out of the box. We give you the capability to automate complex and repetitive tasks using REST API and or PowerShell commands. We give you a wizard-based deployment so you can publish and manage a wide range of applications and desktops pretty effortlessly. And we incorporate a lot of auto provisioning and auto scaling so you can dynamically create, remove, release, and load balance Windows OSs and OS applications based on whatever predefined criteria you've coded in, as well as ensuring sudden load spikes are easily managed without any manual action. And that's incredibly important right now in the environment we find ourselves in, as far as the ability to, with sudden spikes of remote workers, you're not going to get people kicked off. And then, because that's the worst possible thing you can have, some C-level in your organization working in an application, and he or she gets kicked off because Janice from accounting needs to run payroll. And then at the end of the day, we hope to reduce your TCO. And again, this is kind of a legacy conversation we would have in the olden days, but really the ability to reduce complexity, a super fast learning curve where all your end users need to know is how to use the legacy application. They don't need to know anything else in order to run Parallels RAS on their device. There's really no expensive add-ins. There's no tiered system. What you see here, you get for 15 users and 1,500 users and 15,000 users. There's no tiered level of solution or service. It's all the same. It's an all-inclusive single license model, which provides you 24/7 customer support. It's a concurrent user model, so it's not named users. So if you have 10,000 users out there, you just have to figure out how many people need to utilize your Windows-based application and run that concurrent user model. We also provide a service provider license agreement program. So if you are an ISV or an MSP and you have an application that you're providing to end users, to your customers, you have the ability to roll it out on a monthly basis. So, and again, if you're in higher ed or other organizations that are managed on a more cyclic basis, if you have 5,000 users in June and 500 users in May, we have our SPLA program, which means you only pay for what you use in arrears. And we can talk about that offline if you're interested in the SPLA program. And then, of course, managing sub-licenses. We provide sub-licensing to allow organizations to manage multiple independent keys as they need to. So our core capabilities and the things that you've seen me kind of overview in this conversation are part and parcel of the entire product, meaning that, again, and I want to reiterate this, unlike some of our competitors where they have a tiered product solution, everything you see here, you get with 15 RAS users, 1,500 or 15,000. There is no, I mean, if you want to do, incorporate client policy and granular permissions for your 22 users, your 22 concurrent users, you can go ahead and do that. You don't have to buy a separate module. You don't have to upgrade to the new version. What you see is what you get with us. And because of that, we're able to go ahead and provide a level of support that kind of spans or runs the gamut of verticals. So whether you're in healthcare and you need the capability to not only manage remote or mobile users, but also conform to HIPAA requirements, you can do that. If you have, for higher education or K through 12, and you need a device that works, that's simple enough that students and teachers can use it without any ramp-up time when it comes to learning how a program works, we can be there for you. We can, and it doesn't matter what end user devices you have. It doesn't matter if you've shipped out end user devices. Maybe you have remote workers that they don't have a laptop. They only have a desktop. Well, they can go home and they can roll up that Chromebook that they have and they can run the applications as they need to. And so really what we hope to do is we provide you three things. We provide you a high performance, intuitive end user experience on any device anywhere. We enable you as an IT professional and your organization the ability to be more agile while still providing a centralized architecture that provides you the capability to manage anywhere from anywhere. And then obviously we reduce the risk of data loss and malicious activity while preventing unauthorized access to your applications and your data. At the end of the day, what we're doing is we're allowing you to take whatever IT infrastructure you've created and provide that remotely to as many users as you need to keep your front doors open and to keep that revenue coming in. Well, how do we move from here? Well, there's a couple different things. There is a deep dive demo, which really gets granular into the screens, and it's like 5 minutes of talking and then 55 minutes of demonstration. And that's kind of one of the next steps. If you're kind of sold on it already and you're interested in a proof of concept, there's a couple different ways we can do a trial with you. You can trial on Azure and Amazon Web Services right now, or you can trial on your on-prem infrastructure or on your own cloud. There's a multitude of different ways to do that. So you just need to go ahead and speak to us on how that is done. But at the end of the day, what we hope to be able to provide you is a capability to be to enable the majority of the people that need to keep doing their job to keep your doors open, to allow them the ability to do that working remotely with as little headache for IT personnel and for as little headache as end users as possible. And that's kind of Parallels RAS in a nutshell. And that's where we are. And I appreciate your time today. I'll go ahead and open it up to if you have questions in regards to specifically what you've seen or things that you'd like to see as you move forward. So good question. So how long has Parallels RAS been around? Parallels RAS, we are in currently version 17.1. So this is definitely not something that we created in our garage a couple weeks ago. In the 17 prior versions of this, we have increased the capabilities on a regular basis. So we've been doing this for, in this product specifically, since I believe 2006, 2007. So over 10 years, this application has been running, and it's been working for a myriad of our end users and those people. Yes, any other questions? Okay, so with that, I'd like to thank you for your attendance today. As I stated earlier, each of you on this call will be getting an email from me, which will have a link to the recording as well as a link to the deck, unbranded, of course, so you can utilize this for your own internal needs. And then everyone here on the call is invited to go ahead and incorporate either a trial or a demo or a proof of concept for themselves in order to go ahead and see how we can help you get your end users working remotely as quickly as possible. Thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate you spending a little time with us. I hope it was informative, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care and have a great day.